What up? This is Drex One, and this is the History of the Bay podcast. In the building, we got Rocky behind the lens, King Said behind the lens, D.O. on the boards, Skino in the cut, and today we got a legend, somebody I grew up listening to. I'm excited he's here, Ad Kapone from Totally Insane. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
All right, brother. Thanks for being here, man.
Man, I'm a big fan of the show.
Oh, right on, right on. This is an important part of the history.
Yeah.
I'm ready to jump right into it. East Palo Alto. What's up, Rogue?
What's up, Rob?
Why don't you tell us what that was like growing up out there, man?
Man, shit, back in the days, it was beautiful, man. You know, it was a little more Afrocentric back in like the 70s, early 80s. You know, we had from the 60s to the early 80s, they had the Nairobi Village out there. It was like kind of like over. If any of y'all familiar with East Palo Alto, it's an area called the Village. And right before you turn into the Village, they had a whole little section over there where they had like a amphitheater, like kind of outdoor little park type thing out there where they used to perform. James Brown came to perform. Parliament Funkadelic came performed in the 70s. So, you know, me growing up before the crack era, it was like more Afrocentric. You know, we was riding our bikes in the neighborhood. We was out playing tag football and all the shit. And then toward the mid 80s, when the crack epidemic really hit bad, it kind of switched because it was got a little dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who raised you primarily?
My mom, my mother. I was born in Stanford Hospital, so I'm from the soil for real. From Stanford Hospital straight to Alberni Block. I grew up in the same house my mom grew up in. You know, my grandmother had it, bought it back in 1956. My mom was born in 57, so, you know, we had that house was in our family for, man, until we sold in 2000, damn near 50 years. So, yeah, I just, you know, I grew up on Alberni in the same house my mom grew up in. My dad and my mom had me in high school. They was young. I think they was 16. You know, they stayed together for a few years. They broke up. When I was about 6 years old, my dad had a car accident and he got paralyzed, quadriplegic. So he's been paralyzed for 40-something years now. And but back to your question, I was primarily raised by my mom.
Did you have big homies in your area that were looking out for you, or was it just you and a bunch of other kids figuring it out?
Oh, well, fortunately, it was my mom grew up in that neighborhood, but so did a lot of my other homeboys' mothers and fam grew up in the same neighborhood. So we all kind of grew up together.
Right.
All went to the same schools. You know, we played outside together. Our mothers knew each other, so it was cool to spend the night over each other's house. So I got a group of homies that's been my homies since birth. You know that.
Yeah.
And we still cool to this very day. So
yeah.
Real close knit, community raised, village. The village raised the kids.
Yeah.
Everybody look out for each other, and like I said, we can spend the night at each other's house, and all I gotta do is check in. Hey, I'm down the street I'm across the street at Kiki house, or I'm down the street at Eddie Platinum house, or
right.
You know, and it was cool.
Yeah, we were saying that a little bit off camera that, you know, whenever I go to EPA, it definitely feels like a real tight-knit community.
Yeah.
What was the music scene like before you yourself started getting into it? What was your introduction to hip-hop, either locally or just what you were seeing from the outside?
Well, from the outside, you know, I've been heavily into music my whole life. My mom was heavily into music, so I had all the old school records, all the Motown shit and all the shit she listened to, Parliament Funkadelic. And that, once I got into rap, that really helped me out. But before that, of course, I was influenced by the Ice-T's and the Too Shorts. Too Short was made me realize that it's attainable,
Yeah.
Because at first all you hear was New York rappers.
Right.
And then Ice-T and them niggas came, and then you heard LA rappers. And it wasn't, and then Too Short was the first cat to really, really represent the Bay bow, you know what I'm saying? And I really look up to Too Short a lot still to this day. And he just made me realize that it was capable. I could do it too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as East Palo Alto, it was a few cats that had records out before us. Parts Unknown, I think they was the first cats to come out with a record or album. I think it was an EP or something. I think that came out in 80, 88, 89. Parts Unknown. Shout out to Parts Unknown. And then Prozac, C-Funk, Rated X. They started going to the studio and started dropping, demos, singles, and came out with an album. They was on the radio and shit. And from that spawned Sean T, and from that spawned Chunk. Shout out to my homie Chunk. Me and Chunk have been rapping together since we was kids. You know, we used to ride bikes to each other's house. We used to, after school, go over to Sean T house, record in the garage before his moms came home. And what happened was I caught a case, a juvenile case. I went to jail. And while I was gone, Chunk recorded the Minutes to the Game album. And I was, my mom came to visit me on a visit on the weekend. And you was able to go out, sit outside, and you can bring your little boom box and listen to music and shit. And she brought Chunk's album up there, and she played that shit for me, and I was like, wow, like, fuck, you know. And that was our dream since we was kids, to go to the studio and record an album and, you know, put it out and have it in the store, have it on the shelf, and that nigga did it. So it was like, I was like, shh. Yeah, that sparked the fire for me. Yeah. Because as soon as I came home, it was on the cracking.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to Too Short real quick, because that's one of my influences as well. It's like everybody from the Bay.
Yeah.
But from the thing about him is that he was pretty much there at like the beginning of hip hop.
Right.
And he's, the beginning of Bay Area hip hop.
Right.
When you first heard Too Short, did you like automatically recognize or like relate to what he was saying compared to some of the other artists that you mentioned, like Ice-T and,
Yeah. The first time I saw Too Short, the first time I got introduced to Too Short was on Home Turf.
Oh, yeah.
Remember TV show Home Turf?
Dominique DePrima.
Yeah, right. He was on there, and I think they was playing one of his songs. He was freestyling or something, and the words that he was saying, I was like, damn, that's some shit that, that's some bass shit, or that's some shit that I'm familiar with. That's a language I'm familiar with.
Right.
The way he rapping and the style of rap was like, oh, shit, that sounds like some shit niggas be doing on the block out here, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the music itself, it sounded like some different shit. It didn't sound like some NWA. It didn't sound like Ice-T and Ice Cube and them. He had his own little sound of music.
Yeah.
And it fit the Bay. That hard bass, laid back, play a pimp type shit.
Right.
Because, Oakland is where the pimping originated, so we had the pimp culture since like the 70s. So yeah, he came with that pimp music, and yeah, he represented the Bay correctly.
Do you know of him ever pulling up to EPA and slinging tapes? Because I know he was making his rounds back in those days.
He used to press his shit behind my house at Music Annex.
Wow.
They used to press his shit. And they used to throw all the defective ones in the garbage can. We used to hit the film when Born to Mack came out.
Yeah.
Boy! With dumpster dive.
Yeah.
Get all the defective ones, go in, fix the motherfuckers, and they be slanging them bitches.
That's the truth.
Shout out to Too Short, man. I helped you go platinum. Oh, another story. My little brother and sister moved out to Alabama. Shout out to my little bro, Cheryl, Alan, Alicia. They moved out to Alabama. And one summer I had a 120-minute tape. On one side, it had Too Short, Born to Mack, and the other side had Straight Outta Compton on that motherfucker. And they wasn't on that shit.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the fuck that shit was.
Yeah.
But my older cousin Larry had an old school, one of them Cutlass Delta 88s with hella slap in the back. I think he had a house speaker or something in the back. That shit was slapping though. And I let him slap that Too Short. He was like, man, I got to get a copy of this shit.
Yeah.
I ain't never heard no shit like this before.
Yeah.
So, show you might owe me some money. I help you go platinum in Alabama.
That's something that's come up before on this on this podcast. Just to talk about the history of the Bay, like tapes and dubbing tapes and recording tapes and just passing them around organically is a big way of how the music got started.
Yeah.
And it's a trip that you mentioned that the manufacturer was right behind your house.
Yeah, that was a trip. Spice One.
Yeah.
Spice One got plaques over there. They got Born to Mack plaques on the wall. Because eventually, as I started getting into music, I started recording there.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because that's the thing about being in the Peninsula area. It's a lot of those manufacturers out there, like pressing plants, printers. Like, I just picked up some stickers yesterday from Redwood City. Yeah. That's where a lot of those spots are out there.
San Mateo, Redwood City.
Yeah. So it sounds like you, and from what I understand too, like you pretty much got into music rapping, writing raps like right away, like in school.
Yeah, at 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was a record that used to come on the radio called Roxanne, Roxanne by UTFO.
Yeah.
And that shit was amazing. It was like, wow, these niggas it's like a musical movie they printing. They coming from an aspect of 3 different dudes trying to get at the same chick.
Yeah.
And they getting at her from a different aspect. The first dude was on that pimp gangster type shit. The middle dude, educated rapper, was on that, that educated big word type shit. Mm-hmm. And then, the last cat was on that, he was a doctor, so he was like breaking down medical terminologies and all kind of, and it just blew my mind like, damn, that shit is amazing. So I took this song, my mom went and bought me the song, and on the back of the record, they had the instrumental. And once I learned they song word by word, I flipped the instrumental and started implementing my own words into it. And that's how I learned how to come up with verses.
Yeah.
And verses into a song format.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And that was at 10 years old. That was like 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand, especially now, like everybody thinks they can rap and there's so many rappers, but you do have to have some type of natural talent.
Yeah, definitely.
To do this.
Definitely.
And for you to do this at 10 years old, it's like obviously that's in your nature.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I had a younger mom, so she used to take me to all the concerts. And when shit at that time when Run DMC and the Fat Boys was coming to town, she always took me to the concerts and let me see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. LL Cool J and whoever, during the years.
Yeah.
As long as I did good in school, nigga, you want them concert tickets? Nigga,
Yeah.
You better pick that science grade up. You want them LL tickets for.
Right.
So yeah.
What are the artists that influence your style? Because your style is like, when I hear your music, it's very laid back.
Yeah.
It kind of bounces to the beat a little bit. It feels very hip hop.
Yeah.
Who was your early influences in terms of rapping in your style?
In my style, well, 2 of my biggest rap influences ever is LL Cool J and Ice Cube. I grew up during the LL era where that nigga was the king,
smashing
shit, and then it transitioned into NWA. And then Ice Cube left the group, and he became the mighty Ice Cube.
Right.
And it was just at a time when I was growing into the shit myself from 10 to 14. It was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
This nigga left the group. Oh, he came solo. So it's like...
Right.
So those are 2 of my biggest musical influences. I kind of got my storytelling kind of from Ice Cube, the way he liked to tell stories and like to detail shit and make you, draw you in and let you listen to, let you really hear it. Who else? I'm sure Too Short probably is a big influence on that too. That slow, Bay Area, I want you to hear every fucking word I'm saying type.
Yeah. Yeah, the storytelling is something I hear a lot in Totally Insane records.
Yeah.
Very detailed.
Yeah.
It's like start to beginning, middle, end, start to finish type of stories.
And Mack 10 being in the group with Mack 10 was a big influence too, because we used to get together and sit down, and his imagination is so vivid. I used to just feed off him sometimes, like, damn, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And y'all met in school too,
yeah, we
right?
met. We've been best friends since like kindergarten.
That's dope.
We went to like the same kindergarten and shit, and instantly became cool. And as we grew into the music thing, we both gotten into music around the same time.
Yeah.
And like I said, I used to go to his house or Chunk House and Scoot House even, and we used to just sit down and write rhymes. And a lot of their parents wasn't really into that shit. A lot of their parents
didn't understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
My mom understood it.
Interesting.
So they used to come to my house, and moms would let us go in the room and do our shit and start helping us with talent shows and shit. And
yeah. That's something I was gonna ask, because I recall. Well, you rapped about it, winning talent show.
Yeah.
Was that with you and Mac and some other cats?
Well, shit, we didn't even get to win it. They shot that shit up before we could win it.
Okay.
Well, what happened? I told this story on one of my other boys' shit. Back then, C-Funk, Prozac, and C-Funk and Rated X was the shit. Mm-hmm. It was the hardest shit out of East Palo Alto. They was recording songs. They was on the radio. They had their stage shit together. And they was, prior to that, they was winning all the talent shows. We was younger than them, so we was kind of like trying to get our shit together, trying to compete with them. Those are the guys that we was trying to beat. And they was the guys to beat, man. So we just kind of like we just kept working at it. Miss East. Oh, yeah, that's where the point I was trying to get to. we had an English teacher named Miss East, and after school she used to let us come in her class and practice our shit. And you know, she had pianos and shit in there. She had microphones there. She used to get the keys to the gymnasium, let us go on stage and practice our stage show and shit. She helped us groom to get better. And at the talent show, I mentioned that on I Don't Even Trip, I believe.
Yeah.
The night of that talent show, we was ready. We had our shit together. We had our outfits together. We was ready. This is going to be our night to take the trophy tonight. And right while we was performing, it was a fight in the crowd, and a motherfucker started shooting up in there and shut the shit down.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
this was high school.
This was before high school.
This is like middle school.
This is middle school. This is junior high.
It's pretty wild, man.
This is like maybe freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Or right that summer in between there.
That's really cool that your English teacher. So, I mean, it sounds like you have some supportive adults, like your mom, your teacher.
Yeah, definitely.
And it sounds like they actually, like, because that's a really early age to start. When you start cultivating that talent so early and you got people that support you and help you believe you can do it, that helps, makes it possible.
Yeah.
So, but at this point, y'all are not a group. You're a different group, right?
Yeah, well, at that time, it was just the cats at my school. We put together like a little clique of all the cats that rap called KOD, the Kings of Def, you know, like Def Jam. You know? It was just some cats that we went to school with that lived in the neighborhood that thought they could rap and was into the same shit, you know. Because either back in those days, if you was either a rapper, you was an athlete, or you was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And that was the clique that you hung with. The athletes hung with the athletes, the rappers hung with the rapper clique, and the D-boys hung with the D-boys.
Right.
And then you had cats that could mingle within all, you know.
Yeah.
I was kind of one of those cats that could mingle within all of them, you know, but music was my love at the time, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't even really thinking about drugs at the time, you know what I'm saying? I was into the music because that's where I was trying to get to.
Right.
And then, so going into high school, like maybe, probably like my freshman year coming from middle school, because our middle school was cracking. Ravenswood Middle School was like, like famous like a high school, like, you know what I'm saying? So going into high school, so right after that talent show, that was like, let's say the summertime, I was going into high school right after that, after the summertime was over. One day I was getting off the bus, and this was like maybe a couple months after the talent show too. I was getting off the school bus, and I was walking, you know, I used to have to walk down, get off the bus stop, and then walk to my house. It was like maybe a block over, you know what I'm saying? And Mike Washington, Mike D, was like one of the biggest ballers in the town at the time. He was outside washing his car, and I was walking past, had my backpack on and shit. And he was like, hey, Ad, come here, bro. Let me holler at you. He flagged me down. I walked over to him. He was like, man, I seen y'all was at the talent show the other night, man. Y'all was rocking that motherfucker, man. Y'all probably was finna win that shit, man. Y'all was, you know, because we got like halfway through our performance, then the shit popped off.
Right, okay.
He was like, man, y'all sounding good, boy. He was like, what you gonna do now, man? You know, you ain't, why you ain't put no tapes out or nothing? I was like, well, shit, I really don't know what to do. You know, I've been recording. My boy Jabo had a little 4-track studio at his house. He used to let us come over and rock, you know what I'm saying, and just lay some shit down over some James Brown instrumentals or something. I was like, well, you know, I've been recording a little demos and shit. I slid him in a little demo, and he liked one of the songs on the demo. And the next time I got at him, I gave him the little demo and shit. I got my backpack, gave him the little tape. I smiled back to the house and shit. The next day when I got off the bus and was walking by, he was playing my shit. He was bumping my shit. I had the little James Brown little, not the big payback, but play the boss to be the boss.
Yeah.
And I was on there just riding the beat.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kiss No Ass styles, riding the beat.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, hey, that shit kind of go hard right there. He was like, man, I tell you what, homie, I want you find out where the recording shit at, and tell me how much it costs and shit and get back at me. So, man, I ran home, and I remembered.
Ran home.
Yeah. Full speed. Went home, and I remember my homeboy Zero Lark. Shout out to my nigga Zero Lark, Andre Gibson. He used to have a 6'4" that looked just like the one of Boys in the Hood, the same tan with the gold ones on the shit. So he used to always come through bumping his own shit. So one day he came through and I flagged him down like, hey, check this out, homie. Where do you be recording your shit at? He said, I be going to Frisco. My homegirl Rochelle hooked me up with my the dude out in Frisco, Nate Banks, in their Bankroll Studio.
Yep.
So he's like, I'm like, bruh, I need that number. He just jumped in the car with him, took him to the house, got the business card. I went home, called, and I think I talked to Nate. I didn't meet TC until I got there. And I heard TC tell a little bit of this story too. So I talked to Nate. I asked him how much y'all charge an hour. He said $30 an hour. I was like, he asked me how many hours I need. I was like, shit, I don't know. I don't know. He was like, well, yeah, $30 an hour, yada, 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 boom, 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 gave me the address and all that. So I was like, cool, bam. I wrote all that shit down. I ran back around to Mike D house, and I gave him all the information. He's like, okay. He thought about it, rubbed his chin for a minute, like, okay. He had a little white Toyota Tercel. That shit looked dusty as fuck. On flat tires, had weeds growing around everything. That motherfucker popped the trunk and gave me an old brown cheeseburger bag. Like, a bag you get from a fast food restaurant. Greasy shit. Yeah. Here, take that to the house, count that up and see what you can do with that. I got to tuck that shit up under my shirt and ran back to the house. Ran in my room, dumped that shit on the bed, count out, it was like $5,800. In like 20s, 10s, and 5s.
Yeah. That's tight.
So I counted that shit out. I called Bankroll Studio back, and I went down. I said, I'm coming down there. At that time, 10 had moved away. He had moved away with his other peoples. So it was me and Doc Louie. My homie, shout out to my nigga Doc Louie. We was rapping together at that time. And that was part of the reason why the talent show got shot up, because Doc Louie was from the Village. I was from Midtown, and at that time, it was kind of funkin'. And motherfuckers had warned us not to stop doing music with each other. You know what I'm saying? You better stop having that nigga come
Even
over
all the way back then.
Even all the way back then.
Was in
right.
play.
This is like late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Like 88, 89, going into 90. And motherfuckers are like, nigga, you better stop doing music with that other side ass nigga. We see that nigga over here. Because, he used to come by, we used to practice our shit right and shit. And niggas used to press him, be mean mugging him and shit. And I used to walk to the car like, damn.
Right.
And yeah, it got funky. So we went down there. Me and Doc Louie jumped in the car. We smobbed down there to Bankroll Studio. We got there. We walked in. When we got there, the door was locked. So we was kind of like banging on the door. And motherfucker came, answered the door, unlocked the door. And when we first walked in, I didn't recognize who the nigga was that opened the door until he said something. He was like, hey, T, Ad East Palo Alto youngsters here. It was Cougnut.
That was a pretty good impression.
So I was like, oh, shit. Cougnut, right? He was like, yeah, what's up, homie? And,
you were already familiar with.
I had already been listening to his shit.
Out,
definitely, yeah.
Even EPA was making waves.
My big homie G, shout out to my big homie G, used to have a big ass Radio Raheem boom box. And my house my neighborhood, my street used to be the dope spot. He used to stand in front of my neighbor's yard and lean on their car with his big ass boom box bump music. Yeah. And one day he was out there bumping Cougnut, that scandalous shit. And I went out there like, damn, bro, what the fuck is that? He was like, oh, that's a Cougnut out of Frisco, IMP. That shit scandalous. That shit go hard. He let me dub the tape and everything. So, fast forward. So, when I heard that voice, I automatically knew, oh, shit, nigga, you Cougnut, IMP. He was like, yeah, what's up, homie? And he was like, I was like, I'm here to, I'm trying to book some studio time. Is Nate here? He introduced me to Nate. And they was like, yeah. We sat down, hollered, chopped for a minute. He was like, here, let me introduce you to the engineer and shit. So he took me in the back, and I met TC. TC was back there working on some shit. Walked in. I breaded Nate out, got a little receipt, little invoice and shit. Fold that shit, put in my pocket. Introduced me to TC, showed me the studio shit. Me and TC dapped up and shit, and he was like, we was ready to go.
It was on.
It was on and cracking.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you want to throw something in there?
No, keep going, man.
So,
well, actually, real quick, were you already like back and forth like in Frisco, or was it just kind of like, damn, we about to go to Frisco to the studio?
Nah, yeah, it was just I mean, I used to go to Giants games and
because Bankroll Studios is in
Niner games and shit.
It was on Holloway.
Yeah, that shit was in Lakeview.
So it's not like you're
I wasn't familiar
strip.
with it. Yeah.
So that's
I wasn't
different.
familiar with it. Yeah.
But it was like, fuck it, that's where the studio's at, that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, that's where we going, And it's the same studio that Cougnut do his shit at.
Right. So you already knew that from the gate?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I learned that later.
When you got there?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no. Right before I got there, I put it together when I was going there. Because like I said, G used to let me hear the Cougnut album or that Cougnut the tape they had. And it had the information on the back.
Got it.
So later, when he gave me the business card, I thought back to like, oh shit,
put two and two together.
That's the same spot where Cougnut do his shit at. Yeah. Right.
So that's a good look. You're like, oh hell yeah.
We already with a motherfucker with a known motherfucker.
Right.
We able to that'll give us a boost.
Right.
So came back and I had a few little ideas of shit. He used to be a dude. They used to sell like Series Jam tapes. Used to have all the old school hits on it and shit. I bought one of them. He had like a couple little beats I wanted to flip on there. I think he had like the first song that we did, or the first song that we produced was a James Brown beat called I forgot the name of I'll be straight. I forgot the name of the James Brown song, but T flipped that. And we had a song called Two Stoves. Mm-hmm. That shit was slapping too. I ain't gonna lie, that was a little jam too. And once we put that shit together and took it back to the hood and got a good response to it, it was on.
And that was you and your boy?
That was me and Doc Lou.
Yeah.
We had a song called Giving Up Food. That wasn't Giving Up Food for Phone. Two Stoves.
That's a trip. So you literally bought like a compilation of old school music on a tape.
Yeah.
Brought that to TC.
Yeah.
And told him which ones you wanted to flip. Yeah. And you just flipped it up
Flipped it right there. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool process.
In my face. Asked me, you like this? Each sound he did, you like that?
Yeah.
What you think about that? And he kind of, not only did TC produce for us, he helped us. He
coached you.
Coached us, yeah. He explained shit to us.
Well, people don't understand that's really what a producer's supposed to do.
Right.
That's really producing. That's that Quincy Jones type of producing. Instead of, people think it just means beat maker. Now. Right. Producing is really working with artists.
Get us on the same level.
Yeah.
To where we bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
And he had that experience already just from the people he was working with, like Cougnut and all them.
Right. He had already been seasoned, fucking with Cougnut and a couple other dudes that he was fucking with before us. We had no experience at all.
Yeah. You know, but did you get the sense that he believed in y'all, like he saw the potential, he saw the talent? Yeah. Or was he just like, all right, let's see how this goes? Or y'all vibed?
I think we vibed immediately.
Yeah.
Because we, the day that I came and met Cougnut, I just stayed and we just chilled and just drank and just got to know each other. Mm. So when I came back, we was kind of familiar with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I think so. Me and Doc Louie did a couple of songs, and then Doc Louie got into some trouble with the police. He had to be out. He went back to Texas. So it was a point in time where I was kind of stuck, like, damn, what the fuck I'm gonna do now? And then Mac came back. You know what I'm saying? And then me and Mac started fucking around. And then one of our homegirls from the neighborhood called Treese, MC Silk, shout out to Silk. She was rapping. She was ripping bitches' heads off around the neighborhood, around the town and shit. We was like, oh yeah, we need to go. She did a talent show one night and ripped that bitch. She had a song called Lucy where she was just like on some Lil' Kim type shit, just going crazy. So we was like, yeah, we need to go get her. So we went and got her. And Zero, of course, because he had to, you know what I'm saying? He had the hookup, so we threw him in the group too. So we was going up there recording shit. And it was going cool. We was making some cool songs and shit. And then first thing that happened was, we were supposed to be on our way to the studio. We had already had a session booked. We was running late. This nigga took his whole car apart and had the car laying out in the yard. So I'm over there at this house waiting, and Mike keep blowing my pager up like, bruh, what's up? Y'all on your way to the lab? I'm like, man, this nigga car is all over spread out in the yard, man. We ain't finna go nowhere. He's like, bruh, put that nigga on the phone. So they said whatever they said. And Mike's like, man, I'm on my way. Man, y'all gonna take the bucket up there, bruh. I'll be there in a minute. So he came, gave us the bucket. Him and Lark exchanged a few words, and next thing I knew, Lark was out the group.
I mean, that's it. He's putting up the money. So
right. Hey, we didn't know. Hey, we couldn't say shit.
Yeah.
And he was Mike D, so we wasn't really gonna say nothing.
Was he older? A little bit older than you?
Yeah, he was a couple years older than us. Well, shit, actually, he was like 5-6 years older than us.
Yeah.
But like I said, he the neighborhood man. He the man. You know.
So a lot of stories in hip hop that start with somebody like Mike D.
Right.
Somebody that's in the cuss, that's got the paper with whatever means they get it from. Right. An investor.
Because those are the neighborhood heroes. Those are the dudes that hand out turkeys and bikes and backpacks to the neighborhood. And those are the dudes that keep the neighborhood alive. And keep the dope fiends from crawling your grandmama's window and all that type of shit. Right. Those are those type of dudes.
Do you think that he was seeing music as a possibility for him to get into other things, and
Definitely.
that's why he was taking it seriously. Like,
Definitely. We used to have talks about it. He saw the vision. He saw what was coming.
yeah,
He knew it was coming. He was like, man, you know, nigga, we need our own record label. We need our own shit. We need to own our shit. We need our, you know what I'm saying? He was seeing it.
Yeah.
He was telling it to us, and we was soaking it up like, yeah. And when he passed, it was like damn, you know, like,
yeah,
this shit could be over.
yeah.
This could be it, you know.
Before we get into that too, because I want to see this platform is all about giving people their respect. So someone like a Mike D, who people might not be too familiar with, I
Right.
want to make sure that we can keep his name lit.
Yes.
But it's interesting because I talk a lot about the Bay Area independent hustle, and a lot of it comes from street hustle and that same mentality of taking something, flipping it, getting some more, flipping that, and just that entrepreneurship. But when you don't have the opportunities to go into like a legit business,
Right.
for someone with a brain like that,
Right.
music and flipping tapes,
Right.
the same way you flip product,
Right.
that creates that opportunity.
Right. And I mean, who's better in a situation like that than a neighborhood hustler? They know how to flip packs.
Yeah.
And
it can get real cutthroat about the business and make sure things go the way they're supposed to go.
Right. A lot of people look at Suge Knight as I don't know what they look at him as, a villain, as a whatever, but that motherfucker changed the game.
Yeah.
Before he came, motherfuckers was getting fucked out their bread with no Vaseline. You heard Ice Cube, no Vaseline.
Facts.
That was just a few years before that.
Right.
And Suge Knight came and made sure he put a different attitude in the game to where they was kind of like more hesitant, like, oh.
Yeah, you're not about to play with this.
Right, you about to give us our bread for sure.
Yeah.
And that helped Puffy and Jay-Z and them get rich where they wasn't playing with their money no more.
Right.
But the cats before them, the Big Daddy Kanes and the Rakims, you'd have to, Ice Cubes, you'd have to go into motherfucking building and break shit up to get his check. You know what I'm saying?
Slick Rick shooting
up the motherfucking Def Jam, yeah. And there's many stories like that.
Yeah. So at this time, were y'all totally insane yet?
No, we wasn't even totally insane yet.
Okay.
We didn't become totally insane till Treese left the group.
Okay.
Because eventually Treese left the group.
And it was the two of y'all.
And it was the two of us. And that's when it got serious.
Yeah.
That's when it was like, and before we were just kind of trying to find a sound, trying to find, you know, a lane. And then once it was just me and Mac, we looked at it like, nigga, fuck this. It's now or never.
Yeah.
You know? And Mike D was really into it. Really, Mike D was like really serious about it. Like, nigga, fuck that. We ain't bullshit no more, nigga. We finna go hard.
So he believed in the two of y'all.
He believed in the
as
two of
group.
us. Yes.
How did you come up with the name Totally Insane?
We had recorded a few songs, and the songs was slappers. And we was like, T, we just sitting there doing the session, and T stopped the session like, wait a minute, bruh. Y'all niggas ain't even got a name of a group yet. Y'all niggas making songs, nigga, what would we put this out under? Like, you know what I'm saying? And we was like, me and Mac looked at each other like, damn, that's real. We ain't even got a name of the group yet. We had came up with some shit. I forgot some of the names. One of them was NGC, Niggas Gone Crazy. We was like, nah, that's too much like NWA.
Right.
That's biting. And then I forgot what the other one was. And then T said, y'all need something that represent the town. Because, you know, y'all niggas y'all East Palo Alto niggas is totally insane. It was like, wow.
Damn.
There it is,
that
right
easy.
there.
Yeah.
So TC came up with the name, man.
And another thing, I mean, when I look at like the old school press photos of the group, like TC is in the picture.
Yes.
He's on some of the album covers.
Yes.
And I asked him about this. I just want to get your perspective, and just for the record, that TC pretty much is Totally Insane.
Yes.
He's a member of the group.
He's a member of the group. What happened was, during that time, when we had made an album called Crazy Shit. And we finished the album and everything. We got the album cover, you know, took the pictures for the album cover. And we were just about to put it in the press, and then Mike Washington got murdered out in Oakland. He was out there visiting a chick, I guess her ex-boyfriend or something, and got out of the joint. You know, he flamboyant. He up there in the drop lark with the gold ones on it. The dude walk up to the car, ask him for a pen. He reach over to the glove compartment to get a pen, and dude shoot him in the back like a fucking coward.
Damn.
And Mike smashed off. the homie was in the back sleep. It was like 2:00 in the morning. The homie was in the back sleep, and Mike was smashing down the street trying to get up out of there and wrecked the car and lost consciousness. And the homie slid him over it, rushed him to the hospital, and he passed later on that night.
Wow. Rest in peace, Mike D, man.
Rest in peace, Michael Washington, man. So after that, after the funeral, we approached his brother. His brother was Chris Washington. Rest in peace to Chris Washington. He passed away too. Everybody pretty much speculated that he was going to inherit Mike's shit, basically. So we got him like, hey, bro, we got the album done, yada, 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 yada. And he was like, well, y'all shit cool, man, but I think right now at this time I'm gonna focus more on Black Dynasty because they got that Afrocentric, the Public Enemy type vibe, the yada yada. I think that'll be more, that'll go further than y'all niggas cool and shit. Y'all got some tight ass hood shit and all that, but this some global type shit. And we was like, oh, what, nigga? What, nigga? So that was it. We scrapped the whole album. That shit was, Mike D Dream was over with, basically.
Yeah.
We knew another homie that had bread like that was, kind of like the next up in Mike D's spot. My nigga Manny the Black. And we got at him with the vision. He was following what we was doing because him and Mike D was real close. So he knew what we was doing.
Right.
And he was like, nigga, fuck it.
Yeah.
What y'all want to do?
Yeah.
And I think that's, during all that, we was going through that, and TC was seeing all that, and he was witnessing that, and that just made us closer. It was like, damn, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, this shit is crazy. And he was real good friends with Mike, and he knew the whole situation. And we had been, at that point, we had already been doing music for like 2 or 3 years with each other before Direct from the Backstreet even came out.
Yeah.
We was already doing music with him, T, for like 2 or 3 years at that point. And he'd just come down and to the hood barbecues and met our families and knew our moms. He just became a part of the family. And he was like, nigga, fuck it, I'm in the group.
That's cool.
Nigga, we wasn't gonna say no, nigga. Hell yeah, you in the group,
that's
nigga.
A good look.
Because this was we came before RBL and all the rest of them. 11-5, we was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Well, Cougnut was before
IMP,
us, and then us.
And then y'all, yeah.
As far as the
groups.
TC umbrella.
Right.
Yeah.
Groups that TC was
that
working
TC
with.
was working with.
Yeah.
It was Cougnut, and then maybe Huey MC was before us.
Right.
Yeah, Huey MC was before us.
Right.
Then us, so we was third. And we wasn't even from Frisco. We from East Palo Alto.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it was just love. It's love. It's just
I was vibing and connecting, and the music's all feeding off each other, and it's a whole Bay Area thing going on at the same time.
Feeding off it. We was under one mind. It was like we get in the studio and we knew.
Yeah.
Me and Mac was completing each other's sentences, and he knew the proper tracks and the drums and the perfect bass line and everything for each individual. If you listen to a Totally Insane album, we're a little different than average groups because on each album is always solo songs.
Yeah. I feel like on that first one, there's a few of them, right?
Yeah, but on each album, all the albums, we have solo songs and group songs.
Yeah.
And it's just because TC will feel something for me. Like, nigga, hold on, I got one for you, Ad.
Yeah.
And it'll be me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or, Mac, I got one for you, nigga.
Right.
It'll be him.
Right.
And we would he was bringing that out in us, like,
That's tight.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to, people don't understand, like, that's a lot to go through as a group.
Yeah.
You're losing members of the group.
Yeah.
Your financier, your friend gets killed.
Yeah.
Your album gets shelved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that would have just said, fuck it.
Said, fuck it.
Yeah. But I think, like, when you're able to push through something like that, that's when you get rewarded even more.
Yeah.
And I guess that's when y'all started working on
Direct from the Backstreets. It was like we went there like we went to the studio after that shit with the Rocky music playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's now or never, nigga.
Yeah.
Fuck that. And we was seasoned. At that point, we was seasoned. We knew what to do. We was ready to go.
Right.
Let's just run it back.
Right.
We won the Super Bowl, nigga. Let's run it back.
How long did it take y'all to record that album?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
7 days to produce the tracks, 7 days to lay the lyrics, and 4 days to mix it, 5 days to mix it.
And 30 years later, we're still talking about it.
We stayed up all night mixing that motherfucker.
That's some shit.
All week, mixing that motherfucker. Just left to get food, change clothes, shower, and right back.
What was the plan with that album? Were you already linked up with In a Minute?
Not yet. Manny the Black had stepped in and was financing it after Mike. We were just basically just going to finish. We was going to take the same steps we was going to do with Mike D. We knew where to press it up at. And we had been in talk with music people. You know, In a Minute and Music People is the same company, but two different companies. Music People is the distribution side, and In a Minute Record is the record label.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. TC probably can remember a little better how we even got affiliated with Jake's and how we even met Music People. I don't really remember that part. But what happened was we pressed up the direct from the Backstreet CDs, and first we was just doing them by consignment. We was going to record store, putting them on consignment. And then, like I said, I don't remember exactly how we got Music People's number. When we got it, we called them, and we started doing business with them. And what happened was they was able to just put our shit directly into the record stores without us going through the politics. They were just able to ship it out.
Catalog already.
Right. And we started doing that. We ran through, I think the first time we pressed up like 5,000 tapes, 5,000 CDs. We ran through that quickly. Pressed more. The second one was like 75, ran through that quickly. So now we like, 30,000 units in, getting $6.75 a CD.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. We looking a little better. We got whips. You know what I'm saying? The shit is paying off.
Yeah.
And but what happened was it was moving so fast we couldn't keep up with the demand. Back then it took like 2 or 3 weeks to press CDs up.
Yeah, if you're off the shelf and someone comes in the store looking for you, that's not a good.
That's bad. That's a sale you're gonna lose. So, we had ran through about 30,000 units, and Jason was like, "Look, man, check this out. I could help y'all with y'all manufacturing problem." And he presented us with the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you sign with us, we'll manufacture your shit, we'll promote your shit, we'll yada 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 yada, and the whole shit. And,
real quick, before that, were you? How was the word spreading? Was it just being there, being in the stores, or
it was just word of mouth, motherfuckers on the street. What we was doing was we was going from city to city, and we was going to the hood.
Yeah.
And we'd roll up on a motherfucker with beating this shit. If he's sitting there bumping, we'd roll up on, hey, excuse me, homie, try this out, and just doing that.
See, people don't understand the work that you gotta put in,
it's
man.
Work, man. We went from city to city, bro.
Yeah.
From hood to hood.
That's the Bay Area way right there. I know Short did that. I know 40 did that. I know all the real ones did that. People just look back and they see the numbers and they see the history and they don't see the hard work that goes into it. And a lot of people, especially in this social media age, they don't understand the fact about actually connecting with people.
Right.
Going out and actually wiggling and shaking hands and kissing babies and introducing yourself and carrying yourself. Because you can't just be anybody and go to different hoods in different cities.
Not at
you
all.
gotta know how to conduct yourself and how to move and how to talk to people.
We never win nothing flashy, something cool.
Yeah.
Nothing raggedy, but nothing with no gold ones or nothing on, just something look nice.
Yeah.
We always jump out very polite, like, hey, homie, I got a CDs for you. Check this out.
Yeah.
And what happened was that it grew a fan base for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It started spreading.
And the fact that there's a demand for it because it's not like today where there's a million rappers flooding the area. Like if you had a tape, it's like, oh, all right. That's you?
Right.
Have your face on a CD or a tape was a big deal.
Right,
like, damn,
definitely.
you did this?
Yeah, this you?
Yeah, I will check you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So In a Minute came in and then signed y'all, and then were they able to push it even harder?
Oh yeah, push it harder. It was on after that.
Yeah.
The floodgates was open after that.
Did y'all hit Billboard?
Yeah, we was on Billboard. We had hit Direct from the Backstreet hit 26 on Billboard at one time. At one point, was it 26? Yeah.
I don't think people understand how big that is for independent.
And I didn't even say number one. You see, I didn't say number one. I'm happy with 26.
No, but that's what I'm saying. 26 is big for independent. You're going up against Universal and Sony and
so many. Yeah.
Damn, that's dope. So, how did your lives change after that? Were you Were you just blowing up and feeling the success?
It was weird because at that time we didn't have no videos or nothing, and motherfuckers knew who we was. Motherfuckers knew us.
Well, you're right there on the. I mean, that's an iconic photo too. Yeah, y'all look gangster back there. You look like some gangster country boys. Like the Backstreets.
Oh shit!
who took those photos, man?
Manny the Black.
Oh yeah,
with a fucking regular ass Kodak or whatever the hell kind of camera was, Canon or whatever the hell was back then.
He said, "All right, come on, we're gonna develop the album cover today." Wow. Yeah. See, that's another thing, man. Yeah. People don't understand like how hands-on you got to be to make this stuff happen.
That was with a regular camera.
You know, it's a tweak. Is I had the first Bone Thugs album, Creeping on the Come Up.
Yeah.
I read the credits. The photos was taken by Eazy-E.
Damn, that's iconic in itself.
But it's the same tweak. Like, man, why I gotta get a photographer? Come on, let's go knock this out.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Yeah.
And at the same time too, I noticed. I'm sure this is through TC. Like, and this is another good thing about him working with y'all, pushing y'all. You appeared on IMP's album.
Yes.
You appeared on Dre Dog's album.
Yes.
And you appeared on RBL's album.
Yeah.
How were those connections being made?
Well, okay. So once we started working on Direct from the Backstreets, used to be two dark-skinned cats. Used to be at all the sessions, just chilling, smoking, and just kind of like hanging out, just peeping game. And come later to realize it was Black C and Mr. C.
Mm-hmm.
They should just hang out at TC House, and they was fucking with the music, so they used to come and, just come listen to what T was working with. And they had heard some of the shit that we had done, and they used to like to come just hear what we was coming with. They just liked our shit. And we got real cool. We became friends, became buddies. And once they started working on their album, they was kind of like, shit, nigga, let's get one.
Tight.
And TC came with that fucking beat, and it was just like automatic, bro. I think we recorded that motherfucking like everybody damn near one take Jake that shit.
Yeah, sounds like it. Sounds like a cipher.
Yeah, we just kind of just went. Yeah, it was just kind of like what nigga.
Very hip hop too. With that the Steve Miller Band sample and the scratches. On
that was his idea. He just wanted to come with something that just
TC.
Yeah. It was his basically idea to just come with a show rock or an anthem or something that
Yeah. And on the IMP one, you're on there with I think C Fresh.
It's us, RBL
2,
C Fresh
2.2.
I think Dre Dog on there.
I think 2.2. I don't think Dre Dog's on
2.2 on there.
Yeah.
Cougnut, of course, C Fresh.
Yeah. Was that a good look? Like, damn, we were just listening to these guys now.
Fuck yeah,
on
man.
their record.
That shit felt great.
Yeah.
But at this point, we had already had a relationship with Cougnut. We was doing shows together. We was doing, we was always together.
Was that after your album came out? Can't remember.
Yeah, that was after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was after.
So IMP just had these tapes and these singles, and then they were working on.
Well, they had the Scandalous tape first, I believe.
Yeah, and then like I'm Rolling,
and then they came with that EP with I'm
Gangsta
Rolling,
Rock and Roll,
right?
Yeah.
And then what happened was once we started a relationship with Independent Records was ready to sign whoever TC was fucking with.
Wow.
Whoever TC brought.
Were y'all the first ones?
We were the first ones. Yeah. And then after us, RBL came. And once RBL came, Dre Dog came. And then
IMP.
No, I take that back. RBL came after us. IMP came after RBL. But Cougnut was already a legend at that time.
Yeah.
He was already on. That just gave him an extra little.
So it's a good look. You're all fucking with the same label. You're all fucking with the same producer. You're all from the West Bay, basically.
We're all from the same camp.
Yeah.
So that just naturally started the collaborations.
How did you end up meeting Dre Dog?
Through TC.
Okay.
We was at the lab, and TC had been talking about it. Yeah, I got my homie from Fillmore coming through, Dre Dog. He finna start working on some shit. And he was just telling some of his ideas. He the new Jim Jones and the whole shit. We was like, damn, okay. I don't think Bone Thugs wasn't even out then yet.
Yeah.
So we wasn't even. Brother Lynch wasn't even out yet. So we don't know. I don't know. That was going to be some new shit. Like, oh, okay, kind of like on some Jim Jones type shit. Okay. And when he came, the first song he did was Smoke Dope and Rap, and I knew. I was like, damn, that nigga hard.
You were around when he
was there when he recorded that.
Okay.
Smoke Dope, so chewy like a motherfucking nut.
Yeah.
I was at the studio when he recorded that. I was there when they did Bammer Weed.
Wow.
I was there when TC was fucking me. I seen him. He was explaining on y'all show how he was doing it. I came one day. We had a session, and he was in there fucking with it. He was putting the samples together, and he just kept he was trying to get something right, and he just kept playing the
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck you finna do with that?
Crazy sample.
Yeah. But once he put it together and put the drums and shit in, I was like, oh, man, that shit is finna be incredible.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
He was like, oh, that's for Chris, and then that's for Chris and Kyle and them. I was like, oh, shit, that shit finna be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's dope, though, just to look back on it and, like, that synergy y'all had.
I was in the lab when they recorded Remind Me.
Oh, okay. That song, Remind Me? Yeah.
That shit was a trip because, okay, Black C did his part first, and he had the I forgot what beat that was.
Patrice Rushen?
Yeah, the Remind Me beat. So he telling the story, right? Or was it Mr. C?
I think that's Mr. C on
Mr. C
first part.
Start off, he telling the story.
And then it switches into the, was it Shaka
Sweet
Khan?
Thing.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that shit is finna fuck him up.
Yeah.
The way they put that together, the concept of that shit was dope. I was like, man, y'all finna fuck him up with that.
It's just cool, like, because it's Bay Area, but it's very hip hop.
Yeah,
in terms of the sample flipping.
Well, I mean,
the rap styles.
We all whether you want to admit it or not, we all are influenced by New York niggas because that's where it came from.
Where it started, yeah.
Right. So we took those patterns and then the LA niggas came, and then then the Bay Area kind of caught on, and we just implemented our own shit into it.
And speaking of New York,
but it's still the blueprint. New York is still the blueprint.
Yeah.
We just kind of implemented, put our own
twist
shit
to
in.
it.
Right.
Like, speaking of that, you flipped the Isley Brothers sample.
Between the Sheets.
Yeah, before Biggie.
Yes.
Before, because I think Common did it too when he was still Common Sense.
And Dre Dog.
But y'all were first
we was the
on
first ones, I believe.
Very interesting.
I believe. And that's one of our biggest songs to date.
Yeah.
I don't even trip.
Yeah, that's the one where you're telling the story about the talent show
and all that.
And my hair started growing.
Yeah.
People say I look like a Samoan.
Even the guy, even OG Woody, shout out to Woody, rest in peace, Woody.
Yeah, rest in peace. He sampled you on his song, on his debut album.
That was an honor, like,
rest
damn.
in peace, Woody. Yeah.
Good looking.
Yeah, well, that just lets you know how far the music is reaching.